Hi guys, welcome or welcome back. My name is Samantha of Sacred Vedic Astrology, and we're here with Hannah.
Hello, everybody. My name is Hannah of Hannah the Sun and the Solar Sanctuary, Psychic Readings and Healing Mentorships.
Yay! So today we're going to go into some 2026 predictions through the Vedic astrological lens, and we actually did one last year that I feel like a good amount came true. Hannah, what do you think?
Oh, absolutely. Last year we touched on so many different things regarding climate change, water-related crises, social media and internet culture shakeups, AI revolution, the
Mhm.
psychic and psychological spiritual intensity, and just so much change in the education systems. Like
Mhm.
we broke it down from our video last year, and we had so many predictions that came true based off of our interpretation of the sidereal transits. So we decided to come back around for another go at it because this is powerful stuff and people need to know.
I agree. And what I thought was pretty wild as well too is the huge theme of the Ketu and Leo that we've been seeing, where there's been such a fall of like celebrity culture, the
Yeah.
president, presidency,
Hmm.
leadership, right? Like, don't you feel like that Ketu has really revealed a lot in those themes of Leo or the
Hmm.
sun?
Absolutely, across multiple governments, not just even a US only. Like governments have been collapsing or things have been being revealed about leaders specifically, because that's the Ketu energy, not even just in a political aspect, but in like influencer leaders or think Deepak Chopra, like spiritual leaders, especially from like that Saturn influence too in Pisces. So it's revealing secrets, exposing hidden agendas, and causing people that aren't of true divine leadership, which is that Leo energy and that K2 influence, to be exposed.
Absolutely. And should we talk a little bit about Saturn and Pisces before we go into the shift of transits? Because Saturn is going
Absolutely.
to remain in Pisces for 2026.
Yes, let's talk about it.
Okay.
So what are some things that you have been noticing regarding the Saturn's transit this past year?
So I feel like a major theme, and I wrote this down a lot for the last year's predictions as well too, is Saturn and Pisces has been a restructuring around spirituality, spiritual beliefs, even themes of like cults and
Mm.
cult-like behavior, and anything that's more metaphysical or spiritual that hasn't been morally correct.
Yeah,
I feel like Saturn has gone into that Pisces and has revealed a lot of that to us collectively, like what you brought up around Deepak. What's his
yeah.
name?
Deepak Chopra.
I don't even know his name. You know what's crazy is I would tell my friends, I would always say, I do not trust that man.
Yeah, that's interesting. I watched his interview on Jay Shetty because I
Mhm.
will always watch anybody's stuff. I don't care if like they this is my own nature, but I don't care if they're like shunned from everything. I'm like, I want to see what it is about this person that makes everybody think that. Um, but yeah, you do have to have strong discernment around people like him.
Also, Jay Shetty was another one who got
Yeah,
exposed. Did you
he
see
did.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and all these like quote unquote spiritual leaders that have been moving from a place of more ego, right? So Saturn and Pisces plus Ketu and Leo is showing basically anyone who does spiritual work from a place of like ego.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of the revelations are existing. And also, I would say Saturn and Pisces. I've seen a lot of people restructuring their own spiritual beliefs, even in like my
Yeah.
personal life, and questioning, do I still believe the things that I believed like 2 years ago, 3 years ago? I think there's a lot of shifting there as well too.
Absolutely. Another thing I noticed too, like from a collective standpoint, is because of the influence of Rahu in Aquarius, which is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn in Pisces, making that aspect between all of Leo, Aquarius, Saturn, Pisces energy. It's
Mhm.
influencing the collective community's view on religion and its influence in our personal lives. So, especially from even a US perspective, we're seeing a lot more spiritual or religious influence in government decisions. So, you can see the shift in even government perspectives trying to influence that again in a very unhealthy and unethical way, and seeing how it's affecting their communities. And it's not only the US, many other cultures and countries are going through the same thing as well. like a restructuring of spiritual and religious beliefs and its
Mhm.
influence and impact on individual and collective decisions.
I agree with that 100%. And okay, do you think going forwards, a lot of people are going to shift their spiritual religious beliefs after the Saturn in Pisces, or do you feel like it's already occurring in the transit and they're shifting it now? Because I feel like it's kind of both. Like I think they're in the process of changing those beliefs, then maybe when the transit ends, they'll integrate some new belief systems.
I think, yeah, it's a mix of both. It's like when it's happening in the midst of it, it's almost like you don't realize that, like, because that's that Rahu effect. You don't realize it's happening until you're on the other side of it, and then you're outside of the smoke.
Yeah.
And then you see what's been grounded and stabilized because of Saturn.
Mhm.
So, yeah, when we're in the midst of it, especially during those eclipse seasons, like what happened August, September this past year, and then now even the shift to this point of view, it's like, yeah. I think
Mhm.
once we get to the other side of it, we'll see how it's affected and really grounded into our day-to-day lives.
Mhm. I wonder too, do you think the school systems are affected by Saturn and Pisces? Or do you
This
think
is
that
something,
are
yeah,
Gemini?
yeah,
Yes.
we talked about this last year too. I remember that was one of the things that came true in our predictions. And there was something that I noticed, I talked about this before with you too, is
Mhm.
how the Jupiter in Gemini's influence plus Rahu in Aquarius influence, and Rahu we know in Aquarius especially is what's made that major boost in AI.
Mhm.
And then the Jupiter in Gemini represents, your skill sets, your intelligence, sort of your intelligence. I think that the intelligence aspect also comes from Ketu and Leo, because we know that Leo in the fifth house energy naturally represents your, I think it's called
Pravapunya,
Purva Punya, yes, which
past
is your
life.
past life in intelligence and like past life deeds, right? So the
Mhm.
strength of K2 is there, but the fall of Jupiter is impacting people's ability to retain information and
Mhm.
use it as a skill that actually gets them that Rahu growth. And that's where we're seeing this major increase of AI and its influence on school systems and children's learning and people's ability to comprehend and be literate.
Mhm.
And it makes people have to work 10 times harder to actually be literate and comprehend things, working on their comprehension skills, communication skills. It's all about those skills you're learning and how you're making it really work for your better growth. But what people are realizing is that we're having a fall of literacy, like a literacy decline because of Jupiter in Gemini, and people don't want to put the work in. They're just outsourcing it to these artificial intelligences and not relying on what is the opposite of Rahu. It's
Mhm.
the Ketu, relying on your own internal strength and where that comes from past lives.
Yeah, I agree with all that. And something, okay, Hannah, I want your perspective because this is something I saw as well too, is Jupiter and Gemini. I felt personally, and what I saw in clients and people around me as well too, was a lot of scatteredness within what they wanted to put their energy into. Almost a feeling of like, do I study this? Do I do this? Do I travel here? There's almost this like excess of
Yeah,
mercurial energy with Jupiter and Gemini as well too. And so I think a lot of people have shifted their career trajectories,
yeah,
shifted where they're living, shifted what they want to study, because I also think Jupiter being fallen in Gemini has caused a little bit of like a scattered mental energy this year and a little bit expansive with the nervous system because Jupiter, when it's in Gemini, it's like expanding that mercurial sort of anxious energy.
yeah.
And so I think collectively we've all been kind of scrambling around like, is this what I'm meant to do? Am I on the right path? Is this it? Like I've noticed a lot of that as well too.
Yeah, that's like the theme of my life, as a Jupiter Gemini native, and
Oh
it's
yeah,
very
that's true.
significant placement for me. Um,
Mhm.
so I feel like when you're not ready to have your Mercury activated in that
Mhm.
way, and you're not used to that mercurial energy, it causes a lot of, like you said, stir up and
Yeah.
mental anguish in people because they're very scattered, where
Mhm.
versus somebody who I think is used to that energy, it almost feels as if you're this fish in this stream and you're just kind of following the stream that feels best and most aligned for you at that time. And I think
Mhm.
that's that aspect of the Saturn in Pisces to the Jupiter in Gemini.
Mhm.
Versus if you're not used to like navigating life in a stream, you feel like what the hell am I supposed to do? Build a raft? And then the next day you see somebody going down in a tube and you're like, oh, maybe I need to go to get the tube or something like that. So it's all
Yeah.
about people trying to figure out what skills they need in order to make their Mercury feel supported. And so if
Mhm.
you're pursuing a skill set or something that isn't really sustainable for you, Jupiter will not bless it. But if you are pursuing a skill set that is suitable for your Mercury and your long-term goals,
Mhm.
Mercury will bless it. I mean, Jupiter will bless it. So that's the difference I think I see.
Yeah, it's like scattered, but it's most likely leading someone to a better trajectory or like a better
Yeah.
path. But I feel like people have been very confused with that transit. Like a lot of
Mhm.
clients, I'm not sure if you've experienced this, but they'll come to me and be like, I was doing this, then all of a sudden I started wanting to do this, and then it's shifting, it's all changing,
Yeah.
a lot of kind of unexpected changes
And I think
as
that they'll start to see it right now. Pretty much they should start to see the things that have been working for them.
well.
They'll know because it's like a energy that you can feel what's pulling you more towards it. And you just kind of have to learn to let go of
Mhm.
what isn't working. And I think that's where people who aren't used to that Mercury energy, because
Mhm.
Mercury is very adaptable and it doesn't easily get attached to things.
Mhm.
So when you see somebody like trying to hold on to a way of life or a way of doing something too strongly, that's what's not going to work good with that Jupiter and Gemini energy, right? When you're easily to let go of things that aren't working instead of forcing it so much, you'll
Mhm.
find that this time period up until about May or June of this year, things will start to grow rapidly for you.
Mhm. I agree. And I also do think as well too, a Jupiter aspecting Rahu. That's been an interesting
Mhm.
influence as well too, because I also feel like that's been even more heightening for like the technological advancement
Mhm.
aspect as well too.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So I
and I
think,
think
there
go
you
ahead.
go.
Like what I was touching on earlier with the whole AI
Mhm.
impact, we're seeing that really affect also in climate crisis.
Mhm.
um, well, which we talked about last year as well. But again, it's just been continuously um, something to worry about because of Saturn in Pisces. Now,
Mhm.
I know that this might be a hot take. I'm gonna say it though. Put me on that subway show. But I understand the negative impact that Rahu and Aquarius has on the climate, right? But the
Yeah.
thing that I think we maybe as astrologers and psychics understand is that there is a purpose to it, right? Even if it's causing some negativity, I don't want to say some, it's a lot. I'm going to call it what it is. There is a significant reason for this happening, and
Mhm.
it's actually necessary for the growth of human evolution.
Mhm.
I know that sounds scary to say, but there's going to be something I feel like that happens in the next year, around November, December of this year, possibly, that's going to be necessary from the use of AI and artificial intelligence that impacts individuals and communities
Mhm.
in a way that's necessary for our forward growth. Yeah. And once
It-
Rahu moves into Capricorn, I
mhm.
think that we're not going to experience so much of the negative side of AI. I think that things are going to start to stabilize a little bit and that we
Yes.
will find structures that are better supportive. But right now, it's one of those things you kind of have to move through the hardest part of it in order to get the benefits.
I completely agree. Because if we think about everything being meant to be, Rahu and Aquarius, Rahu's always extreme. So we are
Mm.
actually meant to have a transit where we go too far into Aquarius, right? Like we're going way too into that Aquarius energy. Then it's
Mhm.
aspected by Jupiter by its fifth, ninth aspect as well too. So it means it's very expansive.
Mm.
And the way that I see it is I think it's, like you said, going to become more balanced as time goes on. But for whatever reason, with that Rahu and Aquarius, it had to go so extreme for
Yeah,
us to either learn a lesson or see how powerful technology and AI can be. And then I think over the next couple of years, it like balances out and settles in a little bit.
absolutely. Yeah,
Also, like I hate to say it, but there has been so many powerful aspects of AI and technology as well, too. It's helped so
yeah.
many people, you
I
know?
100% agree. And I know that I think that earthy Pisces nature in me is like, save the planet. And it's like, we all want that too. I don't think any of us want to cause harm to it. But even from the Industrial Revolution, like to now, right? There are things that this world needs for growth and evolution that
Mhm.
come at a cost. And that sounds so dystopian to say.
Mhm.
But I can even notice that in my own personal life. Like we all have to make sacrifices somewhere.
Mhm.
And that sounds like a very hot like take, and I'm sorry, but it
No, I
is the
agree.
truth.
Well, Saturn is where we make the sacrifices, and it's in Pisces,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So it's like kind of crazy because if you look at that astrologically, Rahu and Aquarius, extremes in technology, Saturn and Pisces, restrictions and issues within the realms of water. So it's
Yes,
kind of happening exactly as it's meant to happen.
exactly. And it will like remember, Saturn doesn't deny, it just delays. So that's what I keep trying to tell myself and other people when we talk about this is that if it's hard right now, it won't be that way forever. We
Mhm.
as humans, I think, get stuck on this timeline that whatever energy we're in, whatever we're experiencing, it's hard for us to zone out and see
Mhm.
the bigger picture or the reason why, or even think into a more positive future. But nothing is ever permanent. Nothing in this life, no energy, no situation, no circumstance is ever permanent. And that's why I believe with the Jupiter and Gemini and Saturn and Pisces energy, we're learning to be more adaptable to change, right? Because that mutable energy, which is what Gemini and Pisces is
Mhm.
very connected to change and constant movement or new environments. It's
I
coming.
I agree. It's also, I think the Ketu in Leo has been good in a lot of ways as well too, because I think it's disconnected us from like celebrity worship and oh my God, wealth. And
Yeah.
there's been a theme, I think, of people almost being a little bit disgusted by like extreme shows of wealth.
Yeah.
And I even think like the fall of the Kardashians, not that it's been like a full fall, but have you noticed people are very like kind of over or disconnected from them? Of
Yeah.
course, it happens when K2's in Leo, and we're like not really enjoying these like big shows of wealth and cars and all these fancy things. So I think the K2 in Leo, Rahu and Aquarius has been good for innovation and us moving out of this more like egoic sort of space.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's going to remain going forward.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well said. Yeah.
What do you think about the K2 in Leo?
I also think that it just exposes, like, in general, motives of individuals. And so, like, with any of them, the Kardashians or anyone, you just start to see the true essence of their motives. And
Hmm.
yeah, some of it is like what it's motivated by, right? Because Leo always needs a pursuit because it's meant to produce heirs or produce a lineage, right? But with the like leaders, whether it's influencers or political figures, you kind of with that K2 influence see what their motive is. And so with like the Kardashians, you're seeing that it's the pursuit of a lot of wealth,
Hmm.
um, and not really caring at the cost of who that is from. And the thing that I've been also realizing heavily in my personal life, maybe you have too, is that people are not blessed by the nature of their morality,
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
And so, even people who are motivated by wealth or whatever it is, all you really need in order to do something is the motive, the motivation. So,
Mhm.
even people whose motivation isn't necessarily of the purest intention, does that mean that they won't get it? Unfortunately, no, it doesn't. And that does not to say that the karma doesn't exist and what they're reaping will not sow whatever results is needed, but I think
Mhm.
it's just been my own awakening to realize that, people, God doesn't judge you based on your morality.
Mhm.
I think that energy of God judges based on your own perception of what you're sowing. Does that make sense?
It does, and I agree. And I think I've seen that in personal life as well too. Of like,
Yeah.
that's interesting to see how that's played out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been very interesting. I also think as well too with K2 and Leo, Rahu and Aquarius, something I have really liked about that is the Rahu and Aquarius very humanitarian, where so much protesting.
Yes, I love that.
Agreed. I know, I love it too. Like everyone is really coming together and it's like
Yeah.
group, humanitarian, collective consciousness sort of energy. And, I think politically, the Rahu and Aquarius has brought people to a place where everyone wants to come join these groups and get
Yeah,
disconnected from the leadership that's occurring as well
exactly.
too.
Yeah, and I think social
And in good
media,
aspects.
yeah, I think social media is making a big impact on the revolution of people realizing like more people think the way you do. So if you're willing and brave enough to stand up as an individual and express your beliefs, that
Mhm.
will cause a significant change in the collective. And we even saw that this past year with um, Zohran Mamdani in New York, right? And that
Yep.
individual, that Ketu Leo energy of
Mhm.
an individual political leader
Mhm.
impacting so many people across America and the revolution that he's bringing into like his socialistic perspective on governmental environments and what he's the change, the Rahu unconventional change he's bringing into this world. I think that's a great example of it there.
It's a really good example. Yeah, yeah, I agree. And also, I've even noticed personally, like when I go on social media now, I'm like, people are a lot more bold in what they're
Yeah.
sharing and what they're talking about. It's very Aquarius, where they're like, wait, why have we been doing things a certain way? I think there's been a collective shift this past year where people are kind of coming out of like groupthink to a certain
Yeah.
degree and becoming a lot more individualistic and brave and sharing their ideas and opinions and
Mhm.
beliefs and philosophies. And it is a lot more unconventional as well, too. So,
Yeah, I think that's
it's
also
been a cool
from,
transit.
yeah, it really is. I think that's
Right.
also from that Jupiter and Gemini aspect too, because Gemini does represent that,
Expansive thinking.
yeah, expansive thinking and that ability to have courage and
Hmm.
the willpower to like think differently and
Hmm.
express that thinking differently to a mass of people with the Rahu aspect to it. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, there's definitely been a lot of positive aspects of
yeah.
the transit. I think as well too, I'm not sure if you've noticed this, Hannah. One sort of like downside I've seen though with Jupiter and Gemini is I feel like people have been a little bit more negative recently or
Mhm.
feeling kind of down, not as optimistic.
Mm.
A lot of people have been making like content or TikTok saying like, yeah, 2025 was one of the worst years and I just
Yeah.
didn't feel as hopeful. I think when it shifts into Cancer, that's going to change a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I think,
so okay.
yeah, I think so too. I'm noticing maybe this is just me personally, or I think maybe it's a little bit of people as well, is that now that it's gone retrograde since the
Yeah.
beginning of this year, people are
Mhm.
starting to feel like I guess, the inner sense of courage that Gemini should bring and should represent.
Mhm.
And I think that's impacting people in a more positive way, even if it takes more effort, because that's what people forget about Gemini is you can have all this confidence and this courage and this willpower, but you have to put in the effort. And a
Yeah.
good example I'll say of this is, regardless of how you feel about her personally, Taylor Swift, right?
Mhm.
You cannot deny that she has confidence and that she has put in effort to get where she is, no
A
matter
lot
how
of
you feel about her.
effort.
Too. Yeah.
A lot of effort. Yeah.
Yeah.
She
And
works
that's
hard.
what it takes with that Jupiter and Gemini energy, or just any Gemini energy, really, is you have to build your confidence up through the storm of Ardra, right? That's where it's at. And to get like that positive, hopeful energy of Punarvasu,
Hmm.
the light doesn't just come from anywhere. You have to go through that storm, build that courage, learn those skills to experience that light.
I agree 100%. That's very well said. And Taylor Swift is such a great example putting in work.
Yeah,
That woman puts in
really.
work.
Yeah, she does.
She really
Which
does.
is another aspect of it. People can start to get very over addicted and over consumed
Yeah.
with whatever work they are focusing on, which I'm guilty of that fun 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think with Jupiter retrograde as well too, people are very like introspective right now. I think they're thinking a lot about the past as well too. I think there's a lot of, oh, did this past sort of relationship or this or that, whatever house it's in, obviously,
Hmm.
trying to shift or heal some sort of pattern with Jupiter as well,
Yeah,
or maybe changing the belief system, right? Because
yeah,
Jupiter is our belief systems or viewpoints. I also think right now people are shifting the way that they viewed something from the past.
yeah,
There's gonna be like a
absolutely.
shift in perspective.
Hmm. It's
Maybe like,
highlighting that Sagittarius energy.
hmm. Absolutely. Okay, and then when we move into about June 1st of 2026, we have Jupiter move into Cancer and sidereal. And let's talk about that energy, Hannah.
Yes, so some things that we want to note just off the top of my head is that we're going
Mhm.
to shift from Jupiter in Gemini making a connection to Rahu. to
Mhm.
instead now Jupiter in Cancer making a connection to Saturn. So it's going to
Mhm.
be a very heavy shift. I think a lot of people are going to feel where like so much of it was around your ideas and your skills and your confidence and like how you communicate and talking, connecting to others to a more we think that Jupiter in Gemini was very introspective during the retrograde, but I think it's going to get even more so introspective when it's in Cancer.
Mhm.
People are going to really want to nurture what they have been building with Saturn and Pisces, wanting
Mhm.
to find more community and
Mhm.
wanting to really feel at home. That's that Cancer energy where you feel safe and you feel like you can just hide away with this people or this person or this energy and protect it and preserve it.
Mhm.
So that influence is going to really be impacting people along wanting to preserve and protect things that they are building.
Mhm. I 100% agree. I also think it's going to be a huge focus around home and family.
Mhm.
And it's going to be interesting, right? Because Jupiter will be there, and when Ketu comes in and is going to be aspecting or in conjunction, I think it's going to shift the energy, right? But I do think collectively, the whole time that Jupiter is in Cancer, we're kind of redefining what home and family looks like for us. So for some people, there might be a major shift in what they thought their home life, family life was supposed to look like. And they're like, actually, I'm going to do it differently,
Yeah.
or I want to do it this way, or I want it to be more spiritual, or
Yeah.
something's a little bit non-conventional. So I think there's going to be a lot of energy with that shift of Jupiter where people are thinking constantly about what feels like home
Hmm.
and where is my home, even like location wise, like physically.
And I also think like what you said to expand on it, that Saturn in Pisces influence aspecting Jupiter in Cancer with families, people are going to stop wanting so much outside religious impact on how they build and create the foundation for their families. And to the complete opposite, to the extremes of it, because we'll still have that Rahu and Aquarius extreme, is that people will want more influence of religious ideals and like that type of structure in their families. So you're going to kind of still see a little bit of a division there between people, I think, until Rahu moves into Capricorn by the
Mhm.
end of the year.
Right, right. So until that shift happens, I almost wonder if it's going to be a little bit more traditional leaning as well too. Like I could see it being a split where some people really want to go back to like a very traditional sort of home life and family
Mhm.
life, and then other people are like, wait, I want something completely
Yeah,
non-traditional. I could see a
absolutely.
big split happening actually.
Yeah. And like we said earlier, we were talking about too how this is going to impact the way people have or conceive kids.
Yes, yes.
There could be some type of innovative technology that comes through Rahu, either in Aquarius or Capricorn. I can see it in both, that
Mhm.
impacts people's health in terms of having kids. I could also see a lot more older people starting to have children or
Yes.
starting families at a really older age.
100%. I think older, non-conventional methods, and also even changing the way that they view the family structure. So, for example, I saw a TikTok kind of like already going into this where this woman was like, I never wanted to be a single mom. And now she's like, I actually really do. And I just want to raise all these kids on my own and do it myself.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's kind of a premonition of like the Jupiter
Yeah.
K2 in Cancer. I think people are already picking up on it, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be
I
a lot of shifts.
For sure. Another thing I think we're already kind of getting a little bit of taste of, we did this past year with Jupiter and Cancer for like 2 months, but people are going to want to get into looks maxing and biohealth hacking, right? And
Mhm.
trying to preserve their youth or
Mhm.
their age and
Mhm.
to live as long as possible. And that's come from the influence of Saturn in Pisces and Jupiter in Cancer. But through Rahu in Aquarius, it's impacting the technology of it. When Rahu
Mhm.
moves into Cancer, I mean Capricorn, people are gonna want like everyday people are gonna want some type of biohacking equipment in their everyday life that helps them be youthful or as old for as long as possible, like have a long-term life. That's what people are going to start wanting. The shift is going to go to.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I feel like it's already trickling in.
Yeah,
It's already
absolutely.
happening. Because
Hmm.
I feel this way. I always tell people this. I think we start feeling transits collectively months before they happen.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
think themes start to occur, and even like clients, if they have the transit about to shift, they'll be like, I was just thinking about that, or I was already feeling that. It's like, it's
Mhm.
interesting. It trickles in slowly.
Especially
Uh,
if you're an intuitive yourself, like everybody
that's
has that. Yeah.
100%. I also do think Jupiter moving into Cancer, we are going to feel more like hopeful collectively.
Yeah.
I do think that. I think also people are going to want to come together more. I think there's going to be like a community aspect that feels very important. Also, another thing I could see is a lot of like connection to our emotions and like emotional healing. So I do
Mm.
wonder if there's going to be new forms of healing that comes about as well too, with Jupiter in Cancer, then Saturn in Pisces. I could almost see something happening where there's like outdated ways of healing
Mm.
and new forms that start to trickle in as well too. So maybe
Yeah.
people question more traditional methods of healing and they're like, let's try something different, especially Jupiter Ketu when it
Mm.
comes to Southern Cancer, like some new healing methods coming
Yeah.
about. Maybe
Yeah.
more spiritual methods, something a little bit weird or strange or
Yeah.
different. People are like, I want to try that. Let's see what that's about.
Yeah. A shift in the medical system for sure.
Shift in the medical system. I also think people are going to be more open to unconventional forms of healing.
Yeah. I can
It
see
could
that.
also it could also be connected to having children as well
Mm.
too.
Beautiful. That's very exciting.
Hmm.
Mm.
Okay, so do we have any other thoughts on Jupiter in Cancer? Ooh, okay, one thing I wrote down is I feel like people are going to want to connect more with their ancestry or their lineage when
Mm.
it goes into Cancer. I think people are going to be doing more research or trying to figure out like their roots and where they come from as well too.
Oh, I can also see that especially when Jupiter goes into Leo,
Hmm.
because that Magha energy, right?
Hmm.
People are
Hmm.
really going to be focused on that too, especially when Jupiter is with Ketu in general. So it'll be pretty much
Exactly.
with Ketu from point of November 1st or something onward for
Yeah.
another year and a half.
Yep. Yep. I think there's going to be an exploration of like, where have I come from?
Yeah.
And what is my lineage? And what's my family history? It's going to be a
Yes.
huge thing over the next couple of years.
This is what I was telling you earlier, but I think that might be the root cause of, I think that a lot of people are going to start moving away from the countries they were born in.
I
And
agree with
I am not just saying this because I've done it, but I think
that. Yeah, Hannah's in Bali,
that,
guys. Just
yeah, I'm living my nomad life.
she's living her
But
best life.
but I really think people are going to start leaving in mass groups, countries where they've either born in or been raised in, and start going back to their perceived motherlands, or maybe
Mhm.
where their family lineage comes from, or
Mhm.
even just in general to explore a different
To
way of
explore.
life. Yeah.
Yes. I could see a lot of people also doing trips to like where their family comes from,
Yeah.
right? Like, oh, my grandmother was from here and I want to go see that part of town
Yeah.
or themes like that. I also wonder, what are your thoughts, Hannah? This just came to me as a thought form, but do you think people are going to marry more foreigners because Jupiter is a karaka for marriage when it goes
Ooh.
into Cancer? Or meet
Mm.
people like through travels or foreign or, something of that
Yeah.
nature?
I can see that. I can
Yeah.
see that happening. I can see a lot of also in when it's in Leo, I can
Mhm.
see people doing business arrangement type marriages where they're
Yeah.
marrying for business or status.
Hmm. 100%. Yeah, there's going to be a huge foreign theme. People wanting to go to different cultures, different
Yeah.
countries. That'll be very interesting. What else do you feel about Jupiter being with K2 for a good while? What do you think that energy is going to bring about?
Hmm. I think it's kind of going to be similar to the influence of Jupiter and Gemini, where people are a little bit more scattered in their thought, but
Hmm.
where with Jupiter and Gemini, it's more like the way you think and express your ideas and have the effort and willpower to like see them manifested. With K2, it's still gonna feel a little bit like scattered, but I think more controlled in the sense of what you do find your strength in. Being able to get lost in that type of thought, it's
Hmm.
just going to serve people better, and they're not even going to realize they're doing it. Does that make
Hmm.
sense? It's something people might not even know that they're feeling scattered or in that energy of that type of way of living because they're just kind of succumbing to the energy of K2 there. Yeah.
Yeah. K2 can be very you're just kind of going along with something. It's kind of like la la la, a little detached,
Yeah.
a
And
little
you're not
confused.
realizing really that you're doing it or that that's how you're behaving until after the fact.
Yeah. I also do wonder as well too. I just thought about this as well too. I didn't like prepare this, but I wonder if Jupiter with Ketu is going to disconnect some people with old ways of marriage as well.
Mm.
Because Jupiter is that karaka for like marriage as well.
Yeah, I could definitely see something like that. I'm not sure what nakshatras it's hitting when it goes into Leo. Probably just Magha because it's only for 2 months.
Hmm.
But for sure, when it gets into those other nakshatras of Leo, like the Falgunis,
Marriage,
because yeah, they represent marriage a lot. But hmm, yeah, I
right?
think especially when it's in Cancer, actually, people are going to be you're going to start seeing a little bit more of a difference around people's sexuality and comfortability with expressing of their sexuality. Because Cancer and Leo are actually very sexual placements because they represent reproduction in both
Mhm.
ways, like Cancer being the family, but then Leo being the literal reproduction of those things. And so that comes from
Think it's,
having extreme potent creativity, right?
so you think it's going to expand it?
I think so. Or just maybe also create some type of unconventional newness around sexuality and how the whole collective perceives it. It might not be as taboo as it has been.
I could definitely see that. I also do think when Jupiter moved into Cancer and then into Leo, a lot of like new art forms. I think people are going to be
Mhm.
very creatively inspired, but in new ways, almost like spiritual, weird,
Yeah.
unconventional sort of art can start to come about as well
Oh
too.
yeah. I'm so
Right.
excited for the films that are about to
The
happen with Jupiter and
films.
Leo. Like,
Yes.
yeah, that's gonna be exciting.
It's gonna be cool.
A
Yeah.
lot of horror film I feel like is gonna come out.
I,
Like
I can see
dystopian
that one.
horror.
I can see that 100%. I think it's gonna be a really good time for art and creativity when Jupiter goes into
Yeah,
Leo.
for sure.
That's gonna be a good shit. Okay, is there anything else you feel about Jupiter when it moves into Cancer?
I'm trying to think.
So I think doesn't Jupiter move into Leo on Halloween?
Yeah, yeah. That's so wicked.
That's wild.
It's gonna be a
That's
fun
pretty
Halloween.
cool.
Yeah,
It's
it's gonna
gonna be
be
a cool
nice.
Halloween this year. I like that.
Yeah. I'm trying to look at this calendar here. We've got some retrogrades this year. The retrogrades that are going to be significant this year too, like Mercury and Venus and things like that, are all going to be in air signs.
Hmm.
So we'll have Venus retrograding in Libra, Mercury in Aquarius,
Hmm.
Mercury in Gemini, Mercury in Libra, and then Jupiter in Leo, obviously.
Yeah, all the air energy, and I'm sure you felt it, Hannah, it has been very like heady and like mental.
Hmm.
A lot of intellectual energy. Like I feel like a lot of people are actually very like in their thoughts more than anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, for me, I just feel very accustomed to that. I think that I've been like that my whole life, but I think
Yes, I do
seeing it
too.
in other people,
Hmm.
it's you can see how sometimes unsettling it is.
Yeah, I think if people aren't used to that more air, like intellectual sort of energy to them, they might also be viewing or processing things that they haven't wanted to look at prior. And
Hmm.
it's been forcing them to sit with certain things as well too.
Yeah. Or trying to find different ways to escape it
Yes, yes,
because they don't
absolutely.
want to sit with it because of that Saturn and Pisces. Like sometimes
Mhm.
when you're not sitting with it properly, you're trying to find ways to escape it and it's not going to do you well.
Yeah, I think Saturn and Pisces, at least I've felt lucky in the way that I don't really have a lot of like escapism tendencies anymore
Yeah.
after Sati.
Yeah. Me
Sati
too.
stripped all that away from me.
After my first phase, because in my first phase, I was
Yeah, the first
definitely
phase.
still like smoking a
Yeah,
bit and like trying
yeah.
to escape. But after, yeah, like after I think October of last year, 2024, not 2025, I cut
Hmm.
all that out.
That happened to me in Sexuality. I had to cut everything out.
Yeah.
So if you don't have those tendencies, you don't feel it. But I've seen how other people that are still trying to escape and
Yeah.
avoid, it hasn't been good. It's not good with
Mm-mm.
Saturn and
Yeah.
Pisces.
don't do that. That harms the Saturn right now. Saturn does not want you to escape, or it wants you to find more healthier ways of escaping. Because I definitely still do escape, but I do it in my more healthier ways. Like I've adopted reading, and I've adopted like swimming and my own
Yeah.
forms of meditative practices that help me
Mm.
feel like I'm escaping, but it's more beneficial to me instead of
The
rotting my
higher,
brain.
yeah, the higher Pisces octave, which is like
Yes.
dreaming, like
Yeah.
arts, and, like swimming.
Daydreaming, just sitting there staring into the abyss.
Yeah, I'm like, that's much better than other forms of escapism.
Exactly.
I also do think Saturn and Pisces, it's interesting. Like, I do feel like the creative artistic, do you feel like it's been a little bit, I don't know if blocked is the word, but I
Mm.
feel like I haven't seen things artistically or creatively that I've been like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm so inspired by this.
But I,
Not like not in personal life, in the collective, where it's like a lot of artists, for example, have
oh,
come out with art, and I've been like, that's not your best work though. Like,
oh
do you like
yes,
it's
yes, yes, yes.
right?
I've
Like
seen
more of a
that.
collective scale. Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes, yes.
yeah.
Because I'm about to say, I've found some really great movies and books this year
No,
that,
but they're from the past, right?
yeah, yeah. But
Yeah,
I get
yeah.
what you mean from people bringing it in now, like
Yes,
trying to launch
yes,
something out.
yes.
That's just not hitting.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
they've been working on it for a long time.
Yes,
And
and then they
so,
come out with it
yeah,
now.
yeah,
100%.
those are the ones that do really, really well. Yeah,
Yes. Like some examples, I'm just going to throw it out there.
yeah.
Like Taylor Swift's recent album or
I
Sabrina
agree.
Carpenter. I was like, this is not your best work.
I agree. I think Sabrina Carpenter's marketing,
Hmm.
her, like, if I had no personal problem with it, but I think when she like succumbed to the victim and criticism of it, that's where it lost the sauce, right?
Yep.
Because before her brand was notoriously so like F what they think or whatever, but she like fell into the criticism and that kind of lost that empowerment nature of it. And then
Hmm.
with Taylor, also hers, where I'm just like, dude,
I know.
disappointing, but whatever.
Yeah, it's been kind of disappointing art that has come out.
Yeah. And then people being so upset because it's like, I think also with Jupiter and Gemini, people get very sensitive to opinions.
Hmm.
And so if you're not used to having that energy where it feels like that pureness of Punarvasu, you can
Hmm.
love something and still criticize it, right? You can love something and still say maybe that's not your best work. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Definitely.
Or
I do
on
think
the
it's
opposite, people being very harsh.
very harsh. Very harsh. Yeah. And I also feel like, yeah, it just feels like the creative has been a little bit more stifled than usual. Where it's like it's not as interesting and fresh, maybe.
Mhm.
That could
Yeah.
also be Ketu and Leo though, where it's like disconnected a little bit from the creativity.
Or the things that are like super weird are the things that have been the most impactful. Like the Avatar,
And
I saw
yeah,
that
that's
movie
it.
and I was like, oh, this is good. Like, and that's like weirder, more outward, like Rahu Ketu energy.
Hmm.
And that's been working on for a while. I know those take years to create. So yeah.
Yeah, if it's more like Aquarian and like strange and eccentric, I think that's
Yeah.
what people are drawn to. If it's too like, oh, you're trying to do the same thing you've been doing, people are like, we're over it, we're bored.
Yeah. And also the things that have been taking a long time to create,
Hmm.
and that do deserve the recognition and awards weren't getting that because like Sinners movie, for example, did you see that?
I
I
didn't see
thought,
it.
oh, I thought it was an amazing film. And I noticed like the collective was so in awe of it. Like people were writing essays and doing like video analysis of it. And it got really good feedback from people, but it was completely snubbed at the award season, right?
Hmm.
So that's another example of the more effort people put into something, I think um it was delayed of a bit of recognition. But I think that it will come a time where it gets it the flowers that it needs. Because remember, Saturn doesn't deny, it just delays. So we'll see it.
I agree. I think like as that transit, do you think when the transit shifts, people will also view things differently?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They'll be like, okay, now I get it. I see the magic now.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It was ahead of its time.
Ahead of its time, yes. Yeah, I think with Rahu and Aquarius, anything that's been more stranger centric has been a lot more favored.
Mhm. For sure.
Okay, so what other transits do we want to talk about? Let's see.
I don't think we talked. Well, that's kind of going to be next year, but Rahu and Capricorn.
I know I mean, we could talk a little bit about it. It's like the end. I mean,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts, Hannah? I didn't write too much on it, but I wrote a little bit.
I
Um,
well, I kind of touched on it with the Jupiter and Cancer K2 aspect, but just like structure and like government influence, I think we did talk about it in a way, really. It kind of came through naturally, but that influence of government structure and influence in like spirituality and religion in the collective infrastructure and like its influence impacting people's personal family lives and
mhm,
privacy is really going to be impacted. Um,
mhm.
yeah, and I think we're going to see a shift in like the 9 to 5
Yeah, I
work
wrote that down
work
too. Yeah,
dynamic. Yeah,
yeah,
because it's the workforce, really, truly,
yeah,
Capricorn is. So we're going to see kind of like a major shift in what has been our typical way of working, which is the 9 to 5.
yeah. I wrote down major shifts to the economy, money, finances, workforce.
We
There
could see
could
another
be,
government shutdown for a long time, actually.
yeah, and I also think in that transit, people are going to shift their jobs personally. So I could see a lot of people changing career paths,
Mm.
going to something different as well too, because of all that
Yeah.
Capricorn energy.
Or wanting to work from home or something.
Yeah, like a shift, like whatever they've been doing thus far work-wise, they're like, actually, I want to do it like this, like a opposite
Yeah,
sort of
because
path.
actually, if you think about it, what happened during 2020 with
Mhm,
Saturn in Capricorn was people started having to work from home or finding different ways to work. It impacted because of the pandemic. So
mhm.
when
No,
Rahu
that's
goes there, it's going to be like major shift. But I don't know. Do you think it's going to be another pandemic because it's being aspected by Pisces, right? Which is
right.
that
I
influence of health.
I wouldn't say pandemic. I could see health issues coming up, or maybe there's like some sort of collective sickness. I don't know if it'll be as extreme though.
I think it could be impacted very mentally, like people's mental health is what is the cause of that shift. Because it has
Yeah,
that protection from Jupiter, so I don't think we'll see as like the negative, like where it was with Saturn.
not as extreme, I don't think. I
Yeah.
could see minor, like something similar but not as big.
Hmm.
I also do think as well too with Rahu and Capricorn, people are going to be very financially focused and feeling like
Hmm.
they need to make a lot of money.
Yeah. I think we could see like a little bit of a resurgence of like that girl boss energy and like building your own
Yes.
thing. Yeah.
Yes. I also wonder too when Rahu goes into Capricorn if like I feel like people might get really into investing, new forms of investing, new forms of money.
Mm.
I think there's going to be some shift, maybe not like back, maybe not crypto necessarily, but maybe some new way that we invest our money or put our money into different spaces.
I do think so. And I think it's going to actually be influenced a lot by some type of shift in real estate
Hmm.
because we'll have that Leo Cancer energy where home is going to be a major focus. So
Yeah.
building
Do you think,
home.
yeah. Do you think a lot of people are going to want to invest into having their own home over the next couple of years? So either like doing investments in like real estate market or they want to build their own home, things like that.
Yeah, and I think it's actually going to be people wanting to start building homes, like I said before, outside of the country and
Okay.
start generating a stream of revenue that
Mm-hmm.
supports them to be able to buy. And this is from a US perspective, but I think
Mm-hmm.
just in general, like people are going to start wanting to buy property and land somewhere else because it's going to be very difficult, I think, in the US economy to, because I mean, it already is, but I think just
Very
when Rahu goes there in
Mhm.
Capricorn, Jupiter is going to make people really have that urge and desire to, but it's going to be difficult to make it happen,
Me
especially
too.
very quickly with Rahu and Capricorn. So they're going to
Yeah,
find another way to make it happen quickly to build up the stream of revenue to be able to do it wherever they feel that's supported to.
I agree 100%. I also think with K2 being there, right? K2 is always like a void. It's like a disconnection. So it's like Jupiter's like, oh my God, I want to go do this. I want to expand. I want to have a home. And then K2's like, wait, it's not as easy as you think. There's a little bit of a void energy here.
Yeah. And then in other ways, people are just going to be randomly blessed with like
Mm,
inheritances or uh, lost family money or lost family property and land.
If
And yeah,
if
like
it's like past life karmas, yeah.
yeah, I'm excited. I'm actually personally very excited for that. I'm like, what do you have in store for me?
It feels very mysterious. It feels like what's gonna come.
Mhm. But it feels more happier. Like it
Yeah,
does. Feels like a good
yeah,
thing.
it does feel good. I also wonder if people are gonna start having a remembrance of certain things. I don't want to say past life, but like you get what I'm saying, right? Like I
Yeah.
could see people feeling more connected to themes of past lives or
Yeah, I have been feeling that
yeah,
personally.
you've
Do
been
you
feeling
remember
it.
in like 2020 when it was going viral that Dr. Brian Weiss, I think it was, he had like a past life meditation on YouTube and it was going viral
Yes,
on TikTok and
yes,
everybody was doing it and everybody was talking about their past life? That
yeah.
I did that and that's how I got into reading Akashic Records was
Oh,
because of that meditation I did. And I've
okay,
been seeing it kind of pop up on my For You page again recently. Um,
okay,
so I think
okay.
people are really starting to like open themselves
Tap
up
back
to it.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think when Jupiter comes with K2, people are gonna either remember a little bit more about their past lives or be
Yes.
connected?
Yeah, the people who are connected in that way will, but people who aren't and like maybe don't believe in it or connect with it,
Yeah.
they will still find that, but they just won't maybe know or
Hmm.
feel like something that's kind of like deja vu
Yeah.
to them. That's how they'll explain it, but it'll be like a past life occurrence for sure.
I could also see a lot of gifts that people have either like not fully accessed
Mm,
coming into fruition with Jupiter K2. So it can be like, oh, remember these gifts that you have,
yeah,
and they come back online for someone as well too.
absolutely. And it'll be a great time for psychics when Jupiter is in
Yes.
Cancer with K2.
Insanely.
Yeah,
Insanely. So I'm almost like, what? How is that gonna happen even more, you know?
I know. I'm excited. I'm like, what power is gonna come? Wow.
For some reason, Hannah, what keeps coming to me is like the lost city of Atlantis, and I don't know
Wow.
why. Like, do you feel that?
I
Something about
think
Jupiter K2 in Cancer gives me like Atlantis, like ancient fallen
like just
civilization.
some type of very ancient energy. Like I've been
Very
really into
ancient.
studying that
You
recently. I
have.
went snorkeling the other day and there was like this underground system
Uh-huh.
and it was like it wasn't like a city, but it made me think of that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
You feel it too, right?
yeah.
Do you think there's gonna be like a discovery about it or
There really
something?
could be because if you think about it, that Cancer Capricorn energy is connected to historical significance. So a lot of people with Capricorn in their charts are noticeable historians.
Hmm.
And so when we have Rahu Cancer, Rahu in Capricorn, Ketu in Cancer with Jupiter there, we might have some really profound historical revelation that comes through. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Almost like a rediscovery of something ancient.
Yeah.
Maybe connected to water.
Yeah. Ooh, what if they find Amelia Earhart?
Oh, that'd be wild.
Wow. I
That'd be
got
wild.
yeah, that would be so cool.
That'd be so cool. Yeah, I think
I'm
there's gonna be a
buzzing
lot.
like my third eye
I
glowing.
know. I'm like, oh, I want
Wait,
the
that's
transit
so cool.
now. I honestly kind of have a really good feeling about that transit.
Moon.
Ascendant and moon.
That's how I would
Let
analyze
me
it.
let me let me think about it for a second. You go first. I'm gonna look at the chart.
So I think this year the placements that are going to benefit and bless the most are,
Hmm.
oh, well, I can't narrow it down. Here I am, my Rahu ass. Hold on. I think it's going to be all the mutable signs, truly. So
Okay.
Pisces, Virgo,
Yeah.
Gemini, Sagittarius. They're going to see a lot of good benefits first half of the year. Second half,
Yeah.
it's going to start to focus more on like the um actually I can't even give you just one. I'm such a hypocrite.
Hmm.
What else? Jupiter and Gemini, obviously. Um, what else?
It'll be interesting to see for our charts because me and Hannah are both Gemini risings when Jupiter goes into our second house
Yes.
of
I'm also
money.
going to be, I have to ask you about this offline maybe, but
Yeah.
I'm also going to be having Rahu over my Mars.
Your own psychic.
Like activations even stronger than before, maybe some type of,
Almost like an
yeah.
obsession. Also, Rahu Mars would be like you would feel very energized. You'd be like,
Yes. Yes, I'm
A lot of
excited.
that'd be very sexual.
I like that.
Rahu,
I'm not
Mars, and
opposed to
Mathos.
that.
I'm like, geez, that's gonna be
Just let it be my husband. Let it be my one man.
like, who's gonna get all that Rahu, Mars, and Mathos energy?
Or it's gonna be making a lot of money
A
because
lot
a
of
lot
money.
of billionaires have Rahu Mars.
They do. Yeah, Rahu Mars is very successful. You're probably going to feel very motivated to make money through like eighth house things like astrology,
Occult, yeah.
psychic, occults, and you're going to probably obsessive with research too. You might do some like serious research.
Yeah.
Like you're
Yeah.
going to be obsessively trying to figure something out or get to the bottom of something.
Mm, I like that.
It'll be very interesting.
Mhm.
Is there anything else we want to talk about transit wise?
I think everybody just needs to hang on tight, have a good time, enjoy the ride. We're
Hmm.
gonna get through this year just like we do every other year. So really enjoy the moments. Yeah, there might be a lot of highs, a lot of lows, but learn to just kind of adopt that ride.
Hmm. And do you feel like you have one main like theme that you see to end it for 2026?
One main theme. Just keep swimming. That came to my mind immediately. Like just keep swimming from Dory or what Finding Nemo. Um, yeah, I think that's my motto. Just keep swimming.
Hmm. I love it.
Okay,
Okay.
guys. Well, thank you so much for watching this. We
Thank you
appreciate you all for
guys.
being here. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment below what placements you have and what you're excited for the future, in your personal life and in collective. And let us know if there's any other aspects or occurrences that you think are going to happen or that you want us to touch on more of. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching.
Yes. Thank you guys.
And make sure to follow us both. I
Yes.
am at Hand of the Sun on everywhere.
And I'm at Sacred Vedic Astrology, and I'll also link both of our handles down below as well too.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
Bye.